You are joining me today live for today's episode of Princess Interrupted, the podcast. I'm your host, Allison Ziegler. Today we're diving into 5 lessons of giving that we can tap in through Ziggy Claus to do 5 days of special giveaways and spread holiday cheer and joy in a way that feels aligned and expansive. Today is day 3 of the Ziggy Claus challenge, and today's prize is access to my Loud and Clear Intuition Workshop, which is valued at $55. In order to enter, you need to either write a review for the podcast, which you can screenshot and email to me, or you can write a comment on the YouTube video and subscribe, and then I will send you a message back if you are selected as the winner. Winner is announced at noon on the following day, and I will be announcing the next day of the challenge, which will be on Substack, which is also named Princess Interrupted. The other way that you can be entered is if you set up a discovery call between now and the 31st, you will be entered to win a full-length private coaching session with me. These are the 2 ways that you can participate. The private coaching session is the grand prize for the challenge. One of my biggest lessons from this past year is that hard work doesn't equal results. I grew up in a household where it was really reaffirmed hard work equals success. Hard work equals money. This was probably the predominant belief. I think when you grow up with this belief that hard work equals success, when you don't get success, it almost allows you to step back into a victim status. I did everything that I was supposed to do. The universe must hate me, or like something outside of your control is preventing you from this outcome, which is not the case. And next week's episode, we're diving into what it actually takes to be successful in your pursuit of your goals. So make sure you're following along on the podcast for this episode. But it really hit me. I used to have this pattern in relationships where I would just try really hard. And I would think that it was mine because I really wanted it and I tried really hard. Success has so much more to do with energetic alignment and your beliefs about that which you're desiring. Your energy is so much more important than the actions that you're taking. Last year, I did a 5-day goal detox challenge, and I did 5 days of Instagram lives. By the end of it, I was so burned out. I felt so exhausted, and it just took a lot of my energy. When things are not aligned, that's when they take our energy. Where it was something that my ego was still equating with this hard work, success, show up. But when you're showing up from this energy, it doesn't translate often to the results that you're seeking. This year, when I had the idea for Ziggy Claus, I was like, okay, is this kind of more of the same? Am I pushing myself? Am I forcing myself to do something that's not actually aligned? Is this more of the hard work paradigm, the hard work programming that I'm operating from? I was talking to someone about it, and they were like, well, what's your intention for this challenge? Like, why are you doing it? And I was like, I want to spread holiday cheer. I just want to create a way to give back. I want to create a fun way to engage with people during this time of year. She's like, okay, well, there's your answer. This pure intention has been so much more fuel for me than the way that I created this goal detox challenge last year. There's still value in the program, but I look at myself now and how I'm approaching what I'm creating, and it just feels so much more aligned. Desire to give, desire to show up, desire to share value, but in a way that feels good for me. For me, going live 5 days in a row during this time of year doesn't really feel like I want to be doing. I've created a way where I can share on my podcast. I've gone live, but then I can also just share an Instagram reel. And I created ways to do this that felt so much more aligned. And it wasn't even about making it easier. It was making it more aligned with what I wanted to do. This isn't to say I'll never do a 5-day challenge again, but this is to say your intentions and the energy behind the actions that you're taking have so much more impact on the outcome than the actions themselves. I've often found that when your beliefs don't line up with your desire, it won't happen because it would be reaffirming beliefs that aren't true. If I would have succeeded in the way that I originally approached my business of this pure grind and hard work, it never would have resulted in the happiness that matches the picture of what I'm actually desiring for my life and what I'm actually building and the purpose of what I'm here to help people embody. I look at what I coach people on and how I help people align their lives and step into these versions of themselves. And that would really be out of alignment for me just to be hustling behind the scenes and not taking care of my own needs. I find that when you fill your own cup, you have a better energy when you go about doing things. And I think about what my clients are desiring, and I'd like to share this perspective with you. Anything where you're putting in effort, you're putting in work, you're looking to see results, you've got to get your energy right before you even take a step with that. That is like the biggest lesson that I feel like I've learned this entire year is like an action needs to have the energy backing it up in order to result in success. Okay, that was my number one. But my actual number one, family is absolutely everything. And so is gratitude. I'm going to look back on this as a monumental year. But through the living of it, there were a lot of moments where I faced challenges and obstacles that I wasn't necessarily wanting to face. Through this past year, my family has been there for me so much. And I look at the words that I chose going into 2024, and they were believe and love. I hosted my Intentionally 2025 workshop, the year you finally believe in yourself. And what's so crazy is that my word for 2025 is finally. So I am looking at this time of year and how the new year's coming, but I am looking at this as an arbitrary start. I'm also not feeling like this actually feels like the end. This feels like a continuation. It feels like there are some very real things that I'm working through right now that just because the clock changes to January, we're not completely changing course. We're staying the path because I don't feel complete in what I'm working towards in certain areas of my life. To have this come full circle in terms of the title that I came up with my workshop, which ended up being the most transformational experience that I've offered through a masterclass to date in my business. It was so next level, but to have it so connected to the words that I had intentionally chosen for 2024 was just this complete full circle moment that I couldn't have created on my own. It felt very co-created. I share all of this because love, in my mind, when I set the word and the intention at the beginning of the year, I wanted it to be a romantic partnership. I wanted to find my true love, my soulmate, my husband, my partner, which didn't end up happening. But I ended up receiving so much love from my family in ways that it changed what the overall big picture of my life even looks like. I saw that the true meaning of abundance is having more than enough to give to others. The true meaning of value in life is taking these concepts, taking these tools, and being able to share it with people and be able to help them improve their own lives. I look at the ways that my family's been positively impacted from me coming home. So obviously I've really benefited, and I've loved to spend this time with my mom, and all these amazing things have happened since I've been spending time here, even though I was reluctant and resistant at first and it felt like something I didn't want to manifest. But I look at the way that it's helped my family, and even the way that my family has said, like, thank you so much for being here. And I look at the ways that it's, I mean, even if you've been watching the podcast, like this room used to be painted a completely insane color. I truly believe that the external is a representation of our internal, and to see the physical, tangible progress and growth shown physically on the walls and in this house has just expanded my belief of what I'm truly looking for in life. It's helped me deepen my perception of value. And it's also really deepened my gratitude to receive support. When you're doing anything worthwhile, you really need support. If you have this hard working wound, you might have the perception that it's all on you, that you have to control your outcomes, that if you don't take care of it, no one's going to take care of it for you. And that's a whole other episode that we can dive into. But being able to lean into the support, being able to receive the support, and then being able to positively put good back where it's being received has been really something that I never knew I was going to get this year. But it feels like the word love actually was accurate, not in the ways that I thought it was going to be. I would say that it was equally accurate. The third thing that I've learned this year is just the power and the significance of the subconscious mind when it comes to manifesting. If you're looking to change your life, it really does come down to changing your subconscious beliefs. And we say blocks, but it's your subconscious. It's a perspective through which you're looking through the world. I think about whenever I was in driver's ed class and you would put on the drunk goggles. If you have subconscious beliefs that are messing with what you're desiring in reality, you're basically putting on those drunk goggles and then trying to do things. When you clear your subconscious programming and you align it with the reality that you're actively desiring, things stop looking distorted and it becomes easier. Just a simple action like walking down a line. I really think those drunk goggles are the best example of how subconscious blocks alter your reality negatively and make it harder for you to accomplish things. It's not your fault that you have these beliefs. Honestly, it becomes your superpower once you clear these, because you have the wisdom and the knowledge on the other side of these. Just this morning at the gym, I had this awareness of this pattern that had played out in my relationships that I was applying to my business, as I said earlier, with the hard work dynamic. The key is always thinking about the version of yourself that you want to be, or thinking about the version of yourself on the other side of the goals that you're setting, and embodying that and thinking about, okay, the version of me who's a multiple six-figure business owner, she gets to relax. She gets to take Christmas off, or she gets to work if it feels aligned. She gets to share what's on her heart. I'm going to do a Substack post tomorrow. It might just be very brief. That's where tomorrow's Ziggy Claus challenge is going to be. So make sure you're following along on my Substack, Princess Interrupted. But in the past, I would have probably forced myself to go live, maybe even do a meditation. I think about where I'm going in the future, and it's not that she wouldn't be taking these actions. The difference isn't the actions that you're taking. The difference is the place that you're taking these actions from. In the past, I would have taken these actions from a place of obligation as opposed to giving, and the obligation would have been fueled by this desire to grow my business. The desire was of the heart. My business is going to be incredibly successful. It already is a successful business. But I look at the past version of me would have taken this place out of obligation. It would have taken it from lack of this in the physical reality. The future me already has this. She's taking it from a place of giving back. She's taking it from a place of, I want to provide some value for people who might have a tough time during the holidays. I want to provide a value for some people who could use some joy in their lives right now. That's a very different place to take action from. And I think about myself and I'm like, okay, what feels within my heart and true to me in terms of giving and service? But today for me, that did not feel like going live. That felt like recording a podcast episode. And tomorrow, it will be what feels aligned to my soul. Your subconscious beliefs really are creating your sense of reality. And as soon as you bring awareness to your blocks, you get your power back over them and you start to make change. This is number 4. The piece that really blew my mind when it came to manifestation is that the body is just as important as the mind when it comes to manifestation. I had been doing breath work, I had been meditating, but I never fully understood this on the level that I do now. If you don't feel your feelings the full way through, they get stuck in your body, and this manifests by blocks that are put in your energetic field. I wish I would have understood this better. This like nervous system thing. I didn't understand that the nervous system is actually just an extension of the mind. They're made of the exact same matter. And when you have feelings that are coming up, the goal isn't to automatically shift to feeling good. The goal is to feel the feeling the whole way through. To honor it and get curious and to ask it what it's seeking from you, and then to allow it to go. To not get stuck, but also to not try to numb it, not try to make it go away, and sit with it and then release it. And the other caveat that I'll add to this, and I go into this so much deeper in my program Align Me, which launches on Monday. This is my signature program. It's going to be the beta creation round, so you'll get 3 live calls with me. It's 50% off for this round. This program is going to be more expensive in the new year, but I would just say this program has the power to completely transform your life, and it has the power to transform the way that you transform, is the way that I would put it, because it's designed to be an intentional catalyst for change and an intentional catalyst for aligning your health, your career, and your relationships. And the first module of this is going to be on the body and the mind and the health, because it really does start with aligning yourself before you start seeking these external goals, or before you start seeking beyond the self and integrating with community, integrating with family, and the value you put out into the world. The last part, which really comes into when I'm talking about feeling these feelings the full way through, it really hit me today that if I could have, I told you what my words were going into the year, my intentional words, the words that I sent as my intention for 2024 were believe and love. But the word that I would say looking back on this past year, I would assign the word surrender to 2024. There was a lot of things that happened that I wasn't consciously desiring, but once I surrendered and handed over control to a higher power, I call it God, sometimes I'll refer to it as the universe, but once I started putting God more in control of my life and trusting God and praying, my life started to feel a lot better, and I started to just receive. And I started to really become more intentional in my message that I was sharing, shifted the focus off of my immediate needs onto the people who are in my world and ways that I could give back and ways that I could serve. This comes back to gratitude and abundance, but it really has been such a relief to surrender. I had a breakthrough understanding of surrender last night. And surrender isn't about getting what you want, but it's understanding that even if you don't get what you want, you're still being guided. Sometimes not getting what you want is actually guiding you towards this bigger picture of what you want. I look at the example of the business growth, where the first few years I was coming at it from a place of, I want this desire, it's not here yet, I'm going to take actions so that I can make it happen, versus this inevitability of understanding it's going to happen, but what actions can I take from a place of service and from a place of genuine joy and genuinely wanting to give. Those energies are incredibly different. So the surrender is surrendering to understanding that this desire is inevitable. This is going to happen. Who do I want to be in the process of the unfolding is definitely a question to ask yourself, but also understanding that the path there, it's not going to look exactly like you want it to look. It's not going to look like exactly how you think it's going to look. There are going to be disappointments along the path. That's just a reality of growth. And those disappointments ultimately are a gift. I look at my family as everything. I never would have expected that to be on my list. If I was in New York, these would not be the same lessons that I've integrated. But I look at my life, I look at the depth of what I've received this year. And I even had this conversation with a friend yesterday where I was just like, you know what? I know I'm on the highest possible timeline because life feels so much more rich and full. And I don't think I ever would have ultimately gotten to where I'm looking to go if I didn't have this experience. So wherever you're at and wherever you're ending this year, just know that if it doesn't feel like the end of the year, it doesn't have to be. You can continue to have those same words, those same growth. If you're not ready to turn the chapter, keep going and keep working towards what you're actively pursuing right now. That's how I'm approaching it. This also leads me to the program that I'm offering, Align Me. We start on the last new moon of 2024. I have an incredible group of women who have already joined the program. It's a digital program where you'll get weekly module drops, but then there's also 3 live calls, including a live breathwork session. And this program is designed to help you align your health, your career, and your relationships. And it's designed to be a catalyst for not just setting intentions for the new year, but aligning your beliefs to your desires and your energy to your desires. It really is this missing piece of your energy. Your energy in alignment with your desires is how you achieve success. It has nothing to do with the effort. It has nothing to do with the actions. It has everything to do from the energy in which you're approaching these actions. So I hope that this episode helped paint some frame of reference, started to get your mind flowing. It is Christmas Eve here, so I am going to go get ready for time with family intentionally. I'm signing offline and I'm posting this. I also wanted to say that I do have spots available for private coaching. I cannot think of a better time to hire a life coach than right now. Just the start of the year, even if you have some things you're working through from last year, you reflect, you release. This is when I personally hire my coaches. So I really suggest if you just want to have a conversation, if you want to talk about working with me one-on-one versus joining Align Me versus doing both, I have all kinds of options available. So send me a DM on Instagram, or you can fill out the link to set up an alignment call. I love you so much. I can't wait to see you next week where we're talking about the formula for success. Thank you so much for joining. I love you. Merry Christmas. Bye.